Hi friends, and welcome back to Beloved Reviews. If you're new here on this channel, I share with you delightful, family-friendly, and faith-based movies and television shows. Happy Monday, y'all. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. Well, y'all can let me know in the comments how y'all doing and all that good stuff. I just want to say that I did remember to ask y'all, okay? But we're going to go ahead and get into this right quick because I don't have a lot of time with you all today. But yeah, we're gonna try to work through it smoothly. So let's get started with our special feature today, which is titled Love Begins. Now, you can find this film streaming right now for free on YouTube. But first, let me tell y'all what this film is about. Clark Davis, a traveler with dreams of seeing the world, has to work on Ellen and Cassie's farm to pay off a debt. He slowly starts to win Ellen over, but when her former fiancé returns, Ellen faces a difficult choice. Now, friends, this is the prequel to Love Comes Softly. If you have not already watched my review for Love Comes Softly, no problem. Stroll back to that video history and pull that up so you can get caught up in all of that. But if you have watched the review in the film, this is perfect for you. And if you have watched this prequel, please let me know in the comment section below. Let me know how y'all feeling about it. What are your thoughts? Because I am a little bit confused, but I know that's mostly on my part because I'm like not really going in order. Like I saw Love Come Softly like a long time ago, like many months, you can tell when you go back to the video history. And I had no idea that there was a prequel to this beloved series. So I was like, wow, I just had to watch it, right? So here we meet Clark. And this is why I'm a little bit confused, because in Love Comes Softly, I gotta pull this up. I know I said I was not gonna be with y'all alone, but I gotta see what his wife name in Love Comes Softly, because I don't want to be confused. All right, let's see. Love Comes Softly. Widowed Marty. Yes, see, that's why I'm confused. All right, in Love Comes Softly, Clark ends up being married to Marty. So I'm like, in this film, this is a total different person, total different woman. I'm like, okay, so what happened between then and now? Because the way that this film ended, the way that this prequel ended, I'm like, what happened? I don't know what happened. I gotta see if it's another movie after this one, because apparently something has happened and I need to find out what happened to the wife here. But anyways, okay, so let me go back to Love Begins. So here we meet sisters Ellen and Cassie. Now they have lost their family. Well, they lost their parents. So they are on this farm and they are working really hard to keep it together. Ellen being a big sister and also kind of stepping into this mother figure role for her sister Cassie, because Cassie never knew her mom and she lost her dad like a year or so ago. So you can tell the girls here are not in the best place, but Ellen is doing her best to hold it together because she is the older sister. Her younger sister is a minor, so it's kind of like her responsibility to raise her the best way that she can. And on top of that, she has to deal with all these other responsibilities that are more like for a guy to handle, a husband to handle. So fixing up things around the house and attending to the farm. And then she realizes like, hey, I need some help. We need help. I cannot keep this up. I can't keep it going. My strength only goes so far. And so she does put out a word to the sheriff here. And I love the sheriff here in this movie. He seems very honorable, sweet, and gentle and kind. I just want to point that out. Even though we don't get a whole lot of him in this film, but we get enough of him to know that we just love him. And also like he has that about himself. He carries himself with such dignity and integrity. Like he is about upholding the law. He is not about showing any kind of favoritism. So we get a lot of that, even though, like I said, we don't see him throughout like the entire film, but we get enough of him, right? Okay. So anyways, Ellen lets him know, like, can you like be on the lookout? And he lets her know He'll be on the lookout for some workers, some handy guys. He'll see what he can do. But so far, it's not looking like they can find anyone. They can barely pay them much. So I'm sure that plays a factor as well. But yeah, so here we have these other guys who come into town. They're friends. Clark, I don't remember his buddy name, but the way that he behaved himself in this film, I don't really care to remember his name. I just thought that was just not right at all. But yeah, anyways, getting back to Clark, okay? Clark and his friends stumble into town. They are on their way to following their dreams. I'm looking down here like I can actually see. Is it to California? I think so. I don't know. They trying to go somewhere where they can get some gold and come up, okay? They trying to live their best lives. They trying to make all their dreams come true. So they end up stopping here in Ellen and Cassie's town, and they're sitting there dining, everybody seeming to having a lovely time. It's very, very quiet. Clark seems to be handling things quite well. However, his buddy, you could tell he's a bit hot-headed, hot-tempered, and doesn't really take well to no, or I'm gonna say no, because I was gonna say rude, but it's not like the ladies here in this scene were rude. They have every right, if they do not want to address you or talk to you, especially in this time. The women were a lot more delicate, a lot more elegant and proper, so they didn't go around just casting their pearls upon swine, like a lot of that is going on nowadays. Was not the case back then. So let me tell y'all this, okay? So Clark and his buddy sitting there like they get ready for some dumplings, get some chicken and dumplings on the way. This restaurant is like, okay, they really cook. They throw down in this diner here that they got going on. Like, you can get you a really home cooked meal. It ain't like no fast food, get you a hamburger and some fries and all that. Nah, you gonna get you a nice home cooked meal. So they end up ordering something really nice and hearty. And while they waiting for their food, Clark buddy looking behind him at these ladies. Of course, they caught his little fancy, okay? So he looked back at them and addressed them like, hi, basically trying to shoot his shot in a sense. And the women kind of ignored him, and that really threw him off. Like, you can tell he's one of them kind of guys, like he doesn't take well to someone saying no to him or whatever. So I'm like, them ladies ain't do nothing to you, boy. Leave people alone. Leave folks alone. You in a brand new town. You don't even know how they roll. And I felt Clark was more like kind of checking the place out. He was quiet, peaceful. He know this ain't his hometown. He don't know nothing about these people here. So he kept it real smooth, and he was calm and gentle. But homeboy over here, your little friend, like I said, he don't take well to no. And so when the ladies ignored him, he kind of threw it out there again, shot his shot again. And then two guys who obviously felt like you were bothering the ladies here, so they addressed him. He was like, they were like, you look like you want somebody to talk to, but talk to us. I'm like, okay now. I miss them kind of times. I'm saying it like I've been in these kind of times, but I know these kind of times exist when men back then, regardless of whether they were related to you or not, if they notice that a woman is being treated improperly, unfairly, any kind of way, they step it up, okay? They were protectors back then. I don't know what happened to these little things now. I don't even know what to call them now. But yeah, I love that, how these two guys stepped up and was like, come on, you seem like you got a problem. It seems like you want to talk to us, okay? And so you know what went down. You can assume, okay? They went at it. They did, okay? It was quite an action scene, right? And Clark, being the good guy that he is, and being that's his homeboy and stuff, he jumped into the fight, even though this ain't had nothing to do with him, but he jumped in there because it's like 2-on-1. I'm finna sit here and let my homeboy, I ain't finna sit here and let him go down like that. And I'm like, okay, Clark, I know you gotta do what you gotta do, even though this ain't your fault. But the sheriff pull up and end up arresting Clark and his friend because Clark's friend threw the first punch. So that basically, you got to be held accountable for that, right? And so he locked them up or whatever. Clark's friend have this bright idea that he's going to break out of this and continue their journey to California, wherever they going, to get some gold. And he ends up breaking out of jail, and he's standing on the other side. The guy who's supposed to be guarding them is asleep. So he ready to go, and Clark wakes up out of his sleep. He's like, "What are you doing?" Basically, we got to face the music. We did this. So, and that's where it really showed who is who. And I just felt bad for Clark in that moment, because it's not only he's losing two things in this scene. You lost your freedom, one, and two, your friend, your childhood friend. Y'all grew up together. Y'all were boys and all of that. And now you see what kind of friend he really is. Because I feel like even though y'all got y'all got y'all goals where y'all want to head off to and get the gold and all that kind of stuff. I feel like Clark's friend, if he was really your friend and you see that Clark wasn't feeling this breaking out of jail type thing, that you would have been a friend and been like, you know what? We're just going to trust God in this situation, especially since we know we were wrong. Oh, hey, you knew you were wrong. So what's up? But he ended up leaving Clark behind, and Clark just stays there with the gate wide open until the sheriff pull up in the morning. The sheriff is like, "Where's your friend?" And he is surprised that Clark is sitting there with the gates wide open. And it's like, what? Like, your friend gone, but you're here? I mean, that just made him start to think, like, what is going on? But the sheriff had such respect for him in that moment, even though he didn't show it, because he still was on guard, because you just never know what these guys are up to. You don't know these guys. They ain't from town. But I love that Clark and the sheriff do develop like this trustworthy relationship with friendship throughout the film. And it was because Clark was a man of his word. He was a man of honor, and he showed that by his actions. He could have easily just dipped out with his homeboy out of town and going on about his business. But this film had so many different lessons here. And so, before I get to the lessons, Clark ends up facing the music, so he ends up pleading guilty and have to pay for the damages him and his friend had done to the diner place. But he didn't have enough. He has a little money, but he didn't have enough. So to pay off the rest of his debt to the town, to the community, to the people here, the sheriff ends up placing him on Cassie and Ellen's farm to help them around the farm. Remember that little handyman I said that they needed at the beginning of this review? And so that's where Clark comes in, that he ends up being hired by them to work off his debt. And so, of course, a lot of different things happen while he's out there on the farm. He learns a lot. He learns a lot about their ways, because Ellen and her sister Cassie are believers. They honor God, they worship the Lord. They go to worship services on Sunday. The way that they carry themselves is a lot different than what Clark is used to. And even though he's observing from afar, watching how they interact with each other, interact with the community, and even interacting with the Lord, you can see that it slowly but surely starts to change him and open his eyes to a brand new life, a life that was more settling. I felt like he knew one day he would want to settle down. I mean, he's still young. He still has this youth strength, right? So he felt like he got a lot of time ahead of him. Like most people, when you feel like you got all the time in the world, most people want to screw that up and play around with it, as opposed to, okay, let me just settle down. Let me focus on the things that are more important in life while I'm young, instead of waiting till you get old or broken up or sickly or whatever, So I love that Clark was considering that here, hey, he's still young, he's strong. It might be nice to settle down and have someone special in his life, and to really plant its roots somewhere. And I love that, because he was kind of going back and forth in his heart about that. Is this the time? Would it be what he wants to do here? So you see how he interact with the sisters, which is so beautiful, and it gives you hope for real, especially if you are like me, hopeful romantics, that there are really good, honorable men out there who love the Lord, who are willing to change if there is a change that needs to be made. And so it was such a beautiful story. This whole series is just amazing. I remember reading the books. I don't think I read all of them yet, but I read quite a few of them, and they are such page turners. They're so wholesome and sweet and loving and have so many life lessons here. And more importantly, just turns your heart back to the Lord, which y'all know that's like my favorite, right? But anyway, so yes, I know I said a lot, and I told y'all I wasn't going to keep y'all long. But yeah, that's what you have going on here in this prequel. And like I said, I need to find out what happens after this, because I just don't know. Like, how we get from Love Comes Soft, how we get the Love Comes Softly to Marty with the little girl there. And here we have Ellen. And I'm like, okay, what happened? I'm kind of scared to find out what happened. But at the same time, y'all know I gotta know, because y'all know I gotta be in these characters' business and everything. I ain't finna act like I ain't finna be in their business. But yeah, once again, this film is titled Love Begins, streaming right now in the neighborhood of YouTube. Okay, so before I'm trying to think, is there something else I needed to tell y'all? Okay, yes, y'all. Y'all probably already know this, but let me say it anyway. I've been putting out quite a few shorts every day, especially like as I'm living, because we all are living out here. I mean, outside of YouTube, we all got lives and we're living. So anytime, like, as I'm going throughout my day, any lessons that I'm learning along the way, anytime the Lord whispers to me something, and I'm jotting it down in my phone, in my notes and all of that, to talk to y'all about it. So I feel like it's so much easier to throw it in a short. So yeah, y'all, if y'all down for that and want to be encouraged and all of that kind of stuff, yeah, pull up to the shorts, because I've been putting them out, like multiple shorts out a day. So yeah, y'all, we can hang out a little bit there too. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and share the scripture with y'all before I leave y'all for this evening, because it is getting quite late and I want to make sure y'all get this, okay? But we're coming out of Psalms 119. Psalms 119:38. I'm about to say verse. I don't know. But yeah, here it reads, establish your word to your servant who is devoted to fearing you. So that's all I have for y'all for this video. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. As always, please remember to leave y'all thoughts, your prayers, your overall take in the comment section below, or any other thing that God puts on your heart that you just want to share, or any other little things that he's pointed out to you, and like perhaps this film, Love Begins, or whatever that you've been watching and going to the theaters to see or streaming. Let me know. Don't be shy. Y'all know I love y'all, okay? So until next time, may the Lord bless and keep you both now and forevermore.